Since 2008, there have been 118 deaths across Greater Manchester's waterways. Every time another death occurs in one of them, there's speculation that it's the work of a serial killer known as the Pusher. It's become a bit of an urban myth. JC Norman has been investigating the hotspots around the city centre and asking if any of the deaths could have been avoided.
For 200 years, Manchester has been at the heart of the region's canal network. Spanning 200 kilometres, these historic waterways were integral to the success of the cotton trade, as well as to the industrial and economic growth of the city. Today, they remain the thread linking the city together. For many, they are a route from one side of town to another and a distinctive backdrop throughout Greater Manchester.
Yet, in recent years, a number of seemingly unexplained deaths across Greater Manchester caused a rumour mill to churn. Could there be a serial killer on the loose, dubbed as the Manchester Pusher?
The story ignited again back in April when a man was pushed from his bike into a canal in an unprovoked attack close to the Stretford Marina. Police say there is nothing to suggest this was linked to any other incidents, and it's the only report they've received of its nature.
GMP are so adamant there isn't a pusher, they've refused to take part in our programme. Tonight, as well as investigating the myth, we'll be asking, if there isn't a pusher, why have so many people, predominantly young men, died in our canals?
The Manchester Water Safety Partnership record data on deaths by drowning from the inner ring road plus 200 metres. According to official figures from that area, there have been 22 deaths since 2009. Only one of those deaths resulted in criminal charges. 6 led to open or inconclusive verdicts at inquest, and a further 6 were recorded as accidents. This has led some to call for increased safety measures. One person who has major concerns about the safety of the waterways is Nick Pope. His son Charlie died back in March after going missing on a night out. He was found in the canal the next day.
It was in the week when the Beast from the East was in, ice, snow, very poor lighting. You know, it is a very, very dangerous place. His first term in Manchester, got separated from his mate and, you know, kind of wandering around trying to find a way home. And I mean, he was just like a normal 19-year-old lad, you know, he'd just have a bit of fun and that. I think what's changed over the last 20 years is the city's now come to the centre of these canals with, you know, if you look around, bars, restaurants, clubs, you know, accommodation, businesses, they're kind of attracted and designed to bring people to the waterfront where probably, you know, 30 or 40 years ago, these were no-go areas or industrial areas.
Nick started an online campaign with the hashtag #MakeCharlieTheLast. Since Charlie's death, temporary barriers have been installed as well as signage to guide people towards the nearby footbridge. But sadly, this wasn't enough to prevent another fatality when in June this year the body of 19-year-old Orlando Nairo was discovered just metres away from where Charlie was found. He'd been out celebrating someone's birthday. It's still not clear exactly where he entered the water. His inquest is ongoing.
Desperately sad for Orlando's family, but huge frustration and anger that they'd allowed it to happen again. So, of course, Charlie dies, you know, we start to make a noise and they do some temporary barriers where he went in. Then Orlando dies and they do some temporary barriers. I mean, it's just frustrating that it's taken, you know, one fatality after another before they actually recognise they've got a problem.
Whenever a coroner concludes a death could have been prevented, they issue a Regulation 28. This is where whoever or whichever parties have responsibility must consider the recommendations of the coroner and report back within a certain time frame.
We did some digging to find out how frequently Regulation 28s or similar reports have been issued. Since 2013, we found 3 examples across Greater Manchester. The most recent in October 2017, after 22-year-old Casper Blackburn drowned in the Bridgewater Canal following a night out in Sale. At the inquest, the coroner said that poor lighting around the stretch of water was likely to have contributed to his death. As a result, they urged Peel Land and Property Group, who own that stretch of canal, to take action.
Almost a year after Casper's death,
and the coroner's recommendations for this area don't seem to have been taken. We've obtained a copy of Peel's response to the coroner, which outlines the reasons they don't intend to take action.
It is not intended that lighting will be introduced to the canal. To introduce lighting in the urban and rural areas would have a significant adverse impact on the heritage and natural environment of the canal, which would be entirely detrimental to local areas, for users of the canal, residents and the ecology and wildlife which thrives along the canal. It may also present other safety issues and encourage nighttime use, which is not advisable.
Glenn Rees had been involved in the local search for Casper and is an experienced water safety expert.
Casper's sort of quite unique. I know that that was a very sad story, and I know that it's something that could have been avoided. If people had been around at that time in the morning and they had the education around how to support or save somebody in the water, Casper could have been saved. It only takes a teaspoon of water to get into the lungs of a child or the lungs of a person, really, to prevent that person from continuing to breathe. This is something that people need to be aware of. So yes, water can be dangerous, but it's easily preventable.
Back in town, I'd arranged to see Dave Wilson, the chair of Manchester's Water Safety Partnership. Since 2015, it's been their responsibility to improve canal and water safety in the city centre.
After Charlie Pope died, some temporary barriers were put up and there was some signage to guide people towards the towpath. The fact that a few months down the line somebody else died in a similar stretch of the canal, do you now think that you did enough?
Whenever we have another death, I always think, well, we've not done enough, and there could be more, but what that enough is the question. The gating was only put in certain areas and people it's still a public right of way, so the gating restricted access to some degree, but not absolutely, and we can't close down the canals completely at night. People have got a right to walk down, but what we want to do is we want to influence people to make the right decisions. I honestly don't think we will ever get to the point where we'll not have another fatal incident in the waterways of Manchester, but what we need to do is do as much as we possibly can.
The Manchester Water Safety Partnership have commissioned a report across all waterways within the centre of Manchester. The findings are expected to be published later on this month. The results of Charlie and Orlando's inquest are due later this year. For the families, it's an anxious wait to find out if anything could have been done to prevent their deaths.
Everybody just seems to think we're going to want to point the finger. I've got no interest in pointing the finger at anybody. It's just irrelevant. Charlie's dead, we can't bring him back. But what we can do is try and prevent other parents and families going through this. He'd be proud, he loved Manchester, he was having a brilliant time, he loved the city, and he would want to keep it safe for other kids who come through,
Now, do you believe in miracles? Well,